welcome to this week's episode of Around the Kitchen Table. Today we sit with the spirit of Lammas, the ancient festival of first harvest. We're going to explore what it means to receive, to gather what we've sown, and to trust what is still ripening. It's not just a seasonal shift. This is a soul shift. So grab a cup of something warm and come in close and meet me right here at the kitchen table. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, sisters. It is so blessed to be here with you after a couple of weeks off. I say off, it's been far from weeks off, but I haven't been here with you because I have been in fields and magical spaces. The first one I was at Buddhafield with no signal, which was absolutely glorious. And the second one, just last Friday, I was with 70 women, 70 beautiful sisters holding our summer gathering. So I feel like I've not sat in my hot seat for a little while. And there's so much moving that I'm like, how do I anchor that in right now? But let's start with the fact that this is the 1st of August. It's Lammas or Lunasa. It's the cross-quarter festival that marks this kind of midpoint between summer solstice and autumn equinox. The fields, as I look out from my window, are golden. The first grains are gathered. And the air carries that first whisper that things are about to change. Traditionally, this was the time when communities would bake the first loaves of bread from the season's harvest. And there would be ceremonies and dancing and gratitude, but also prayers. Because Lammas reminds us that, yes, we've worked really hard. And yes, the fruits are starting to show. But we're not yet done. And isn't that the hardest part? To be the in-between. To celebrate what's here while still not knowing what's to come. And as I share, you'll find out more and more about how I am totally and utterly immersed in that place right now. So this is the time to ask, what am I harvesting in my life? What is really coming to fruition in this moment? What am I ready to gather in the harvest? What seeds are still ripening? And can you completely trust that they will? We don't keep digging up the garden, right, to see if the seeds are growing. We just trust that they will. Personally, Lammas always invites me to look back at what I've actually grown this year so far, not just in business or action, but in total self-trust, in sisterhood, in the softness that I used to really resist. And this year, I can see the golden kind of wheat of friendships that feel real. I see the ripening corn of ideas that I nearly gave up on, the things that I thought, oh, should I just let that go? I feel the pulse of something deeper coming, and I'm really learning to trust more and more of this cycle. So, how have I, and why am I, and where am I at? I'm going to tell you a few little stories, little nuggets that are moving me right now. So, here's the magic, right? Oh, itchy eyes because of the season that we're in. I live on a farm, so harvest season for us is full. Not for me personally, because I don't farm, but just watching the activity starting to buzz in the fields around us. The beeping tractors. And actually the harvest was brought in a little bit early, I noticed. A couple of weeks ago, they were busy bumming up and down the road harvesting. So obviously there was a fear that, that it was right and ready then because the weather might change, right? It's always that fear when you're a farmer that the rain might come. And so they were busy harvesting fairly early. And it's only just dawned on me that that was happening. And here I am as I sit in our home of the last 5.5 years, which is the longest the kids and I have lived anywhere. For many, many reasons, we did 12 moves in 10 years. It was full. So we moved in here 6 years ago in November. almost to the day of what I'm going to share with you now. And we've just been given notice on this house. That's the joy and the pain of renting, right? Your home can be taken away from you anytime. It's not yours, you don't own it. And often I see that as a kind of time to move on, and that's okay. And there's been some issues here, not issues with us, issues with the house and some things that need to happen. And they've made a decision to call back the farm, the house for one of the farmers to live in, one of the sons to live in. So they're closer to the farm. All of those things I completely understand. But a week ago, a house came into kind of my ether in a very big way and kind of a, right, you should look at this house on Rightmove and oh, you should look at Rightmove. And it was a real kind of like, you get those ideas, you just think they're in your head and suddenly it's like, no, this is real. I have to look at this right now. And a house had gone on the market that day for rent at a price we can afford. It was a little bit more than this one, but everything is these days. And it had land and it was a smaller house. And I realised that's what I've been calling in for a little while. Just let the helicopter trundle past the window. I've been calling in a smaller house and more land for quite some time, not even really knowing that anyone else would want to move with me. And this house is that smaller house, more land. We went to view it after Sacred Sister. So on Tuesday we went off to view it, and it was like magic. Not exactly what we want in terms of not exactly the amount of land that we would like, and not exactly, there were things that were not exactly, but in many ways it's perfect. And we were the first people to see it, and we told them that we wanted it. And the landlord had already agreed to some other viewings, or the estate agents had. So the landlord wants to see those viewings through. And that's leaving us fully in this in between. So let me just backtrack a step. So at that stage, we had no idea that this house was gonna go. And whilst we came out of that viewing to a message from the landlord saying, from an email saying that they were giving us our Section 21 notice, which sounds like a big deal, but it's just contractual speak for giving us our notice. And they're really sorry, and they, it's taken them a long time to decide, and it's nothing to do with us, and all of that stuff. But it was like, wow, because in reality, as much as we've all talked about moving, we probably wouldn't have, because this place is we're just settled. But the universe has gone, you are moving, whatever happens. And so now we're in this in-between stage. We're in this between stage of until Wednesday, we won't know whether that house is ours or not. And it's bringing up all of those parts of me that are like sitting with the, feelings that they might reject us. They might choose someone else, for whatever reason they might, it's not necessarily first come, first served these days like it used to be on the rental market, right? It's like there are options. So there's that part of me that's like, oh, what does that feel like? And there's that other part of me that's like constantly out there looking at like, oh, we need to look for something else because and we've got 4 months, they've been great. They've given us time because this is our busy, silly season. It's like it couldn't come at a kind of worse, in inverted commas, time, because we don't have the time to really consider it right now. So there's a lot moving in that, and I'm in between. And then there's this in-between world for me of where my energy is at. Sacred Sister was, and has been said by every woman there that has been to a Sacred Sister before, the most magical one yet. It'll take a moment because I need to let that settle. There's many reasons for that. The land was glorious, the space that we were in, what we created, the village of women that created something so powerful for the other women to arrive to, the real feeling of a village, the real depth of leaning into a sacred agreement that doesn't give room for any of the things that happen in the outside world. No judgment, none of the things that kind of you worry about in the outside world with other people. It was just easy to lean into. I turned 50, which was magical. We had the most amazing feast and food and cabaret and boobs. going to leave that one there. No one needs to know anymore. Um, it was just magical. And I celebrated my birthday from, 5 past midnight on Sunday the 27th, all the way through to like 5 to midnight that evening. And we had cacao, and there are just so many amazing things. And now we're back. Monday was packed down day. It was full. Tuesday was going to visit the house and all of that. Wednesday was like catching up with, I don't even know with Wednesday where Wednesday went. What did I do Wednesday? I don't even remember. But I'm still catching up with sorting out the house and getting on with the next things and planning the next kind of events and sorting out what needs to happen for the rest of our summer. And I've got a wedding on Saturday to hold, and I'm going to London to see a friend who's poorly on Sunday, and then we go to property, and I set up Medicine Woman's welfare space, and then I go to property, and it's like, well, that's kind of it. It's like do back to back. And all of that feels quite a lot. And so I'm stuck in this other in-between stage of like craving this village that we created that was so beautiful and so magical. And all of the women are still chatting in the WhatsApp group. And it's so amazing to watch the videos and to see them connecting and chatting with each other, and knowing that those bonds, not even like little pockets of bonds, like the whole of this event bonded. It was magical. So there's that place. And I'm laughing. If you're watching this on YouTube, or, and I'm going to describe for you on Spotify, behind me is one of our journals. This is the journals that I created, and the sun is just hitting the gold. Can you see? It's like shiny gold, reminding me that all is okay. All is shiny in the gold. And that is the color of now, right? The color of Lunasa, like the yellows, the oranges, the golds, the vibrancy of the fields. So, tractor. So here I am. Here I am in this in between. I'm now 50. Somebody asked me what that feels like, and it was like, well, I feel like I've been doing 50 for the last like little while. And it's like, well, I have, because, when we're one, we've already been on the earth for 12 months, right? So when we're 50, we've already been walking that 50th year to that point. So I feel like I've landed more in my body. Like I'm literally here showing up in my dungarees and a vest top, and no bra, and no, like, that's no makeup. My hair is as it is. I'm very tanned, which means my eyebrows are non-existent because they're really blonde. Um, that's okay. I'm okay with that. I don't need to be any different, because actually I feel, like I say, more landed. And then this other in-between stage where I laughed at myself this morning. And this is with no judgment at all. I saw an event being put on by another sister, somebody that I've done some work with before. And when I knew this event was coming up, we had a chat, and she was just a bit like, I don't really think it's kind of your thing for you, kind of. And I was like, hmm. And then the program has come out, and the program is all kind of very beautiful, beautiful women with high followings, with kind of, they've got the numbers behind them. They're that kind of, they're successful. They are connected. And I went into that total place of like, okay, so I'm not good enough. I'm not spiritual enough. I'm not this. I'm not that. All the things that kind of, again, feel like that in between stage. I'd rather have 70 women completely 100% engaged in what we're doing, really feeling the vibe and carrying that forward into the world, than have 100,000 followers that only pay attention for 2 minutes of a video once in a while. That's the truth. And I also sat with the kind of spiritual enough, and it's like, there are many spiritual kind of communities out there. Sacred Sister isn't about how spiritual you are. It's about how real and how connected you can be to yourself. I'm not here to teach you anything. I'm not here. I didn't sit in a field last week as the guru. I sat in the dirt with you, because that's where I feel we grow the most. Every single one of us has the deepest, most beautiful connection to nature and to wisdom. And yet we still look outside of us to find it because we don't give ourselves the time to listen. So Sacred Sister was spacious, and it had space to really listen, and it had some beautiful workshops, not held by someone with 1,000 million followers, held by someone in the community that said, hey, I've got some wisdom and I'd love to share it with you. And my emotions rise in that because that's what we've always been about. And so many women have used, used that time to be the person that steps into their first workshop and feels safe enough to do it. And it springboards them into magic in the world and the thousands of followers. And there were women at our event this time who are already talking about what they're going to do in the world and how they're going to share more in the world and how they're going to how it brought them back to themselves. We laughed and we laughed and we laughed and we laughed and we laughed. And yes, there were tears, and yes, there was rage, and yes, there were all the other things that come, but laughter will be the thing I take away from this one, because we just belly laughed till we pissed ourselves. Honestly, it was magical. So where are you in an in-between stage right now? And can you find yourself okay with that place? Can you find yourself settling into it's okay to not know and to just trust? It's okay to be in the middle of something, in the in-between stages. Like many of you have got kids and there's this in-between stage of school, right? Like some of you have got children that have come out of primary school and are getting ready to go to secondary school, some that are getting ready to go to university, some that are getting ready to do all sorts of things. You may be in this in-between stage waiting to go on a holiday, like so many in-between stages of life. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes for a moment. Obviously not if you're driving. Please don't close your eyes if you're driving. Close your eyes if it's safe enough for you to do so. And I want to just read a little Lammas blessing that I wrote this morning for you. May this season of first harvest remind you of all that you have grown, even when you doubted the soil. May the golden fields of late summer whisper to your heart, you are allowed to pause, together to receive. May you honor the sweat of your becoming, the seeds you once planted in faith and the fruits now ripening in your hands. May you trust what is still unfolding, what lives in the field of not yet, and know that not all harvests come on time, but they do come. May the land hold you, the fire warm you, the grain nourish you, and the sun bless your path forward. You are part of the cycle. You are the sower, the weaver, the gatherer, and today you are enough, just as you are. Blessed be your harvest, Sister of the Earth. So, dear sister, let Lammas be your moment to pause, to gather what's ripe, to offer thanks, and to remember that it's okay to rest for a moment before the next wave of work. Your becoming is not behind schedule. It's just ripening in perfect time. Take care, my loves. I will see you very, very soon. Next week I will be busy in another field, so it may be a few weeks before I'm back here on our podcast. But remember that you have places to connect. Come and find our free Facebook group, find our sanctuary, lean in. There is magic when we gather together. Take care. Bye for now. We're out.